This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Saints Pod. My name is Greg, and once again today joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zach. How you doing, mate? You all good?
Hello, mate. Yeah, better than I was yesterday. So I was unable to join you yesterday. I'm looking forward to chatting some football with you. Glad we didn't have to sit and pain over the agonising game that was yesterday, even if it was, don't get me wrong, good victory, good win. Could have wished just an extra goal would have made it slightly more comfortable. Because I was on fire, what a game. What a hard-fought, horrible game to do well at. Shout out to Peretz too for incredible saves.
Man of the match for me. Yeah, interesting game where, like you say, it was a tough slog, hard-fought victory, but like consistently good performances across the entire pitch. Like a really good performance again. It has to be said, a good team on good form.
Yeah.
It was a tough game. It was.
There's no doubt about it.
I think the sort of game that separates the difference between a great season and a good season, right? You win those games that are tough, grind out the result.
It's the one I was worried about. It was the one that I thought could have the potential to really upset the momentum that we currently have, and it proved not to be somehow. Because there were definitely some moments where it felt like it was gonna.
Yes, there were. But yeah, up into the top six now, firmly our fate in our own hands. You know, good place to be. Right?
Yeah, I love playoffs, Greg. They are my favourite. I definitely don't often watch penalty shootouts due to the amount of stress they cause me. So yeah, I look forward to that whole thing again. You know, unless we want to push for like second, could we do that still? Is that the realms of possibility at this point?
No.
Is that being too optimistic? Am I being you?
If we win every game and all three teams above us lose every game, maybe. It doesn't seem like a likely scenario, though, based on
I'm aware. I'm aware it's all of that stuff is a pipe dream for where we're at the moment. However, just that's the level of confidence it's putting into me, mate.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's hard it's especially hard for me, mate. You know that I fly and feel all of the emotions with my full chest, and it's hard to not just feel like we're never going to lose another game again, because it's crazy. It's really hard to ground myself into and think back to even as little as a year ago, where actually it felt like we were never going to win a game again.
I was going to say, I can remember how it just felt like I don't think that the 11 players we have could put together a performance enough to score and win a game.
Yeah.
But we did, and now we're
we conceded 3 goals this week. That's pretty good, right? Like, it's where we've come from. And
we'd say that on like a Tuesday, mate. Like, but I agree with you wholeheartedly.
It's good stuff. And look, the nature of the league, another game coming up quickly, and Saturday, another game at St Mary's, 2 games in a week. It's exciting. It's good times.
Yeah, Saints versus Oxford. As we know, it's got history. Less than 15 times we played them ever.
Yeah.
Greg trying to tell me we played them twice. Keep trying to tell him friendlies don't count.
We were discussing it before the game, and my normal website for historic stats has 2 games, and you're right, one of them was a pre-season friendly. So it's not a huge sample size to go on, but I mean, they beat us on Boxing Day.
They did
in a horrible game.
We underestimated them massively. We put our foot in our mouths a little bit. The teams like Oxford comment continues to haunt me a couple of months down the line. So then I think I looked back, and I might have looked back last time, mate, to the last time we played them before this that wasn't a friendly. And it was 1996. I would have been 4 years old. Lundek Van was still playing. And everyone else, I started listing off, and you as well, Greg, were like, I have no idea who that is. I have no idea who that was. So yeah, I
just
joke when
slightly
I say sort of
before
history.
the time when I could absorb information like players.
Yeah, so
At the
it's
age of
difficult
4.
to really go off of any sort of history between us because like it's just not really a lot of history between us. There's
No,
the
but
previous game they beat us, and that's it.
what we can look at is the current form and try and compare that. So obviously our form at the moment is, I mean, I can only describe it as exceptional, right? 13 games
Yeah.
unbeaten, uh, just unbelievable run that we're on. The confidence levels are high, the performances are high, even without what you could describe as key, important, maybe even our best players. We are putting 11 players on the pitch who are playing with confidence and quality, and it's good stuff. Oxford not in such good form. Their overall form is okay. 3 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, all in. Most recently, a draw, 1-1 with Charlton, where that was the game with the penalties. Right, both teams only scored a penalty.
Yes.
Before that, beating Blackburn, beating Preston, beating West Brom. Before West Brom remembered how to play football. And a loss to Stoke. But their away form tells a different story because it is not pretty reading. Apart from a 3-1 win away to Preston, it's not good, mate. 2
Well,
losses, 2 0-0 draws.
it's a very different time as well because we were still playing a back five at that point, right? So here's some names, mate, that played in that game, some of which you haven't seen for a hot minute, right? So Romeo came on for Flynn Downs after 56 minutes. Ryan Fraser made probably one of his last appearances for us, if not his last, in the 70th minute, replacing Tom Fellows. Jay Robinson replaced Leo Cienza 56 minutes in. Adam Armstrong started that game and continued it for a full 90. And Joe Aribo was on the bench. Alex McCarthy was also on the bench. And you start to think, like, man, things have changed quite a lot more than I think we like sort of recognise, and that includes myself because I know that we talk about how we didn't do that much transfer business in January, but it's weird that like the shape of the team we have now is significantly different, and sort of some of the key personnel that were brought on as subs and stuff just aren't here anymore. So yeah, bizarre situation, completely different to the last time we played. I think the mentality switch is there. Like we're talking about conceding sort of last minute goals and things. And we showed that yesterday we could do our best. But most importantly, there's a name that I left out there, Greg, which was Gavin Bazunu was in goal. And now we have Perez, who I feel like it makes it his mission to not let a goal in the goal no matter what. And I feel like that should be the number one goal of a goalkeeper. And it's really nice to have a goalkeeper that completely makes that his priority. Even if it requires, like, I don't know, diving headers, kung fu kicks, and sometimes spotting a ball that no one else has spotted and managing to get a hand to it. So, yeah. Oof. Mad.
Yeah, I mean, that double save last night in particular jumps out. And, of course, that incredible save against Coventry.
And the game before, like he has genuinely won us points the same way that Larin has won. Has secured a vital point against West Brom in his first game with us. Obviously, he scored that header. Like these are transfers that have ultimately done nothing but win us points. We wouldn't be in the position we're in today without those two players. Is where I'm at, and it again, we probably had better for them for a lot of the game, but they ultimately scored 2 crucial goals. I feel like I have a lot more confidence in our ability to shut them out in the upcoming game than I did probably in December. And, we also playing a different way, which is, good to see.
Yeah. It should, on paper, all of it lines up for me that it should be a comfortable win. As we know, games not played on paper, things never seem to go that way. Here's one that jumps out at me off the page on points per game. Southampton is 106% better in terms of points per game than Oxford currently, based on form, which is
That is this is also us coming into West Brom and you saying before. Obviously, I think there was a bit of different emotions because you had arrived, you'd gone to the away game. It was your boys' first away game as well, and you're very much like, yeah, I hope we smash them. And obviously, we underestimated them, and they went on to suddenly, as you said, play football a little bit better. I think it's just about not. I don't think there'll be as much complacency this time around, regardless of whether their away form is spotty. I think that we are in a position at the moment where every player is aware of what's at stake. Every player is aware at what points matter and which don't. And I think that we will hopefully have the concentration levels to, win or at least get a goal on a team that I imagine is going to play a bit of a low block, right? Do you think it's going to give
you would expect
vibes a little bit?
Yeah, you would expect a team at that part of the table with the amount of 0-0s and 1-0s in their recent game history. It reads like a team that are going to be coming in with this low block that we evidently struggle against. And I will say that I saw patterns of play last night that are clearly designed with doing better at breaking down this low block in mind, right? And it's part of the reason that Norwich were able to come at us as much as they were, because they pressed that very well and made it difficult. And, hopefully that'll kick in. It's just, it's not going to, you're right, it's not going to be an easy game to walk in. I just think it should be more comfortable than Norwich.
I agree. I also think that it should be more comfortable than it was last game. But I'm also just, I don't want us to just treat the champion. We know we talk about it every week. Everyone's probably sick of us talking about it. But any team can beat anybody in this league, and that's what makes it such a fascinating league. It's not as clear cut, right? It is a surprise when Man City lose in the Premier League. It is a surprise when Arsenal drop points. And, Wolves are probably the only team at the moment that are creating what I would consider to be exciting results in the Premier League. Whereas the Championship, it's like every week, you'd expect Coventry to win a game and they might lose it. You'd expect Middlesbrough to be pushing to secure second place and they might drop a few points here and there. Obviously, I said Norwich was the game that I was the most worried about because I have the level of confidence that you also have in this game. Just very aware that we underestimated this game last time. And
we're still saints in our DNA.
We're still
perfectly capable of slipping up in a game that we absolutely shouldn't be. After such quality performances in games that were expected to be difficult.
That is, it's unbeaten. Those unbeatens have quite a few draws that I think none of us would have liked to have had, and you don't want this to be another one.
No,
it could be.
Important to get the win. Important to keep the pressure on the teams around us and keep it within our own. Keep our destiny in our own hands, right? Because if we keep winning, nobody catches us up. That's the simple maths of it. That's what it comes down to. That's what we can do.
Don't want to rely on me losing their game, right, against Sheffield United. We want to make sure that we are winning our game against Oxford. So the rat result doesn't matter. That's
absolutely
where we should be at. But
I agree with you, mate. No, conspicuous by their absence on the team sheet last night, as predicted. No Leo, no Ross Stewart. Tonda came out in the post-match presser and said, "No, it was just a bit too soon. I'm hoping we'll see them Saturday." So for me, that reads as not going to be in the picture at all. How you thinking about that?
The problem is, the thing that how do I put that? When it comes to the team sheet yesterday, it was completely unsurprising, and you pointed it out that obviously they've said that they're back on the training pitch. We've never been told the results of the scan from Leo, to my knowledge, right? There's not like they've come out and been like, the scan results were really good. He'll be back playing this weekend. It was just like, back on the training pitch. I could turn up to the training pitch, mate. I could be there. Maybe
they're both on the grass too.
Maybe they're both on the grass. I think that I think the same with Ross Stewart is that it is, if he is going through injury problems again, they don't really want to. I think it must be demoralising, and especially you don't want to be like demoralising the fans around them, and exactly like what we've talked about with this like predicted injury crisis, which to be honest has been handled significantly better than I thought we'd be able to. Like Adozie almost scored the other day, right? Like that's the long and short of it. If it wasn't, obviously he didn't realise at the time it was offside, but he had the ball in the back of the net, which means clearly he's capable of doing it. Just hopefully next time on side.
Well, it's because it wasn't him that was offside; it was Azaz, and he actually didn't touch the ball. So I don't want a +1 VAR here because I don't want it. I hate it. But if it was gone to VAR, it probably gets turned over. I don't know.
Yeah,
he kind of makes a play at the ball, but we don't care. It doesn't matter because I'd still rather have a goal chalked off than deal with any level of VAR discussion.
100%.
And then Finnazaz put right his offside mistake by scoring an unbelievable goal. So
all you got to do when it comes to VAR decisions being wrong and it's just look at the absolute farce around AFCON and it being re-awarded. It's bizarre. Not another reason for everybody hating it, right? But for me, ultimately, what that means is that Dozie's been able to come in and deputise pretty well and to the Cienza position. And I think the fact we've heard nothing about it, we've just heard they're both in training, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see them on the team sheet. If we do, I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I think that there probably is something else going on. But that would be a real big way to kill momentum. And I think Tonda is smart enough to be aware of that. And if not, and they are actually training and they are just trying to make sure they're fit for Saturday, then I get the wonderful reward of them both being on the team sheet on Saturday. But I'm not as worried about them not being there as I maybe was when they both first went out injured, right?
Yeah, that's the joy of the confidence spreading through the team is that everybody has stepped up, right?
Yes.
Like the players that were fringe or a concern or you had worries about have stepped up and made things happen. Adozie, I think, was brilliant last night. And genuinely, I said it on the show, was a bit surprised to see him come off, but I can only presume that was, managing minutes more than
managing minutes because he's probably going to play tomorrow, mate.
Yeah. But yeah, just brilliant to see it across the board. So let's get into it, mate. What do you see the team sheet looking like? We kind of stuck to this 4-1-4-1 shape with Sammy given the freedom to play a bit wider at times last night. Do we think we stick with that into this game, or are we going to go back to what we were doing in an effort to sort of counteract this low block?
I think potentially we stick to what we stick to what we've had the last two games, right? And I think that part of it is probably to do with personnel. And Larin, I don't know if he's going to be playing full amount of time, right? Because he played the full 90, which I was quite surprised by. I expected at any point, him to eventually be swapped out with Archer, but he was not.
He was looking good though, man. He was running at pace for a lot of the game. He was
I get that,
and he looked a bit tired towards the end, but not anywhere near what you'd expect. And our biggest concerns about his fitness were that it had been a while since he played, so maybe they've just ramped him up well. Maybe he does have 180 minutes in him because it wasn't injury concerns, was it? It was just lack of minutes previous.
Pretty much. It was more of a can he manage the full game? And, definitely can do now. I think maybe, obviously, if we're talking about sort of positions, goalkeeper, lol. Obviously, in my opinion, we keep Manning and Bree still. I think Wellington's only just gone back into training and Bree should start if he's able to. Harwood Bellis and Stevens are fine. The only way I would see Stevens potentially coming off is if tiredness, that's it. And I would be happy with anyone that sits in that position. I think Downs will remain where Downs was, right? Especially he's interchangeable with Cam Bragg. One of the only question marks for me is whether or not Yander gets a shoe in or Charles gets a shoe in. But I really wouldn't tinker with it too much.
Happy with either of them, right? That's the thing. Both of them do that role so well. It's perfect fun. You're right. I think that we, if possible, I just think the starting 11 stays the same. I don't see any reason to change it. Like I say, apart from potential tiredness or niggles or issues, but we're heading into an international break now, right? And I don't think many of our players or many of the players who we're worried about are going to be going away. So it's a good opportunity to rest up and get ready for the sort of final run-in, which is going to be intense, right? There's a lot of games in a short period of time to come after
Yes.
our little break. You know, we know from the perspective of planning ideas and content that we've got to think really hard about what to do for this little 2-week window in the international break, and then we don't have to think about an episode any time for the rest of the season because it's just match review, match preview, match review,
match preview. You're right. It does kind of come, get a bit hectic up until that point.
So yeah, like with that knowledge that break is coming, I think that'll be the case. We'll push the envelope even on some of the, if we had another game the Saturday after, there are some risks that we might not take. But I think because of that break, I think that we'll be basically unchanged unless the hand is forced. And like you say, maybe Wood starts instead of Stevens because of tiredness, although Stevens looked, it just seems to grow as the season goes on in his presence on the pitch as well. So, yeah, unchanged, just to kill the segment dead, I guess. Gonna have to remove it as a segment to talk about on the show, mate, because
you don't know, yeah, but it will, things will start to, as you said, like people will start to heal up, and then we'll start to maybe swap formations around. But this is like like the third formation change under the Eckert system, and it's been good, and the players know what is expected of them and trust in it. And I find it interesting. I saw a bit of an interview snapshot with Russell Martin about his time at Rangers this morning. I think I said to you that it kind of makes me glad that we have got the manager we've got now, because I think that one of the things he said was, if anything, I should have been more rigid with my system.
But that's the thing, right? This is the formation Tonda has been playing at the moment, but it's not that much different to what we were doing before. And I don't think that he's completely married to it. I think that he will adapt it to the team we're playing or to the players we have available, or any of that stuff.
It's the fact that we've had an injury and it's changed the style of play, and he's changed it for the personnel and picked something and tinkered with something to make it work for who we have. And that's exactly what you want. What you don't want is, well, I refuse to change it, so we're going to put this guy in at centre back because that's what we've decided we're doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's good. It's nice. It's nice to be in the position we're in.
Yeah, one of the things that I am slightly worried about with how good Tonda's work has been is that he's starting to pick up the attention, right? And I mentioned it the other day where, we were talking about whether or not we'd want him next season, regardless of what the playoff results are, right? And we were starting to talk about how there's rumours knocking around. And now we're also starting to see other people are very much noticing the rise of Southampton. There's a brilliant video by a YouTuber called Ryan Hurst that has a kind of look into how Tonda has sort of changed the team on from a team that was lacking confidence under Will Still, and what's been done. And yeah, if anything, that I'm like, oh no, the more and more attention that gets shown from Sky Sports and all that kind of stuff, the more that, there's a chance that, the summer we might not have him as our manager if
he gets look, yeah. You'd like to look. I think that I don't think that is as much of a concern, and maybe that's just the optimism inside me. But he's still inexperienced. Like, doing this good of a job with us is fantastic and incredible, but from another team's perspective, it's doing it that once in this one season.
Lightning struck twice, isn't it? Well, that's what we thought was Still, isn't it? I thought we'd be able to do the same thing he did in a couple of teams in France. But this is also, I think, been a season where a lot of the tinkering and the changing and taking punts has not tended to work out for most people, right? Like, you look at Russell Martin going into Rangers and sort of the weird Wilfred Nancy experiment at Celtic. And even in the Premier League, you've got, Nottingham Forest on their fourth permanent manager of the season. Tottenham now with an interim that gives Ivan Juric a run for his money with the least charismatic man I've ever seen on the planet. It's been the only hope that we've got is that, like, hey, he's doing a really good job at ours, but maybe maybe don't immediately pick him up, but he's got a bit more experience in the Bundesliga, and they are the kind of players that are looking. And it almost looks like when we were talking about Danny Roll potentially coming in, and there was a lot of people from Bundesliga looking at him. It just gives me similar vibes, right? But the difference being this time is he is already our manager, so hopefully that they can actually go out to actually keep him.
And the allure of managing in the Premier League, be that next season if we go up, or getting promoted to the Premier League with your input to get your players in over the full season, is strong. That's a big one, right? That's a big stick. So look, I think it's all good. You're right. The noise is always concerning as a Saints fan.
It means we must be doing well for the noise to happen.
When you start to see media pick up like, oh, that Cienza's a good player, and you're like, no, he's not. Don't worry about it. He's rubbish. Don't want him. He's no. You don't want it because we want him to stay and play with us for much longer. But look, that's that, mate. Got to head to the crunch point of the show where we sort of think about what the outcome and the score is going to be. The short take in the summary I'm looking at, Zach, is that Southampton look best for a win with a reasonable chance of both teams scoring.
Are you not bored of it now? Honestly.
Never, mate. Never.
Right, okay, fine. Half goals.
So, I don't know, mate. What are you feeling? How do you think it's going to play out?
Well, 3-1 was a miserable take from me for Norwich, and that's because I trusted this ridiculous AI. So I'm going to go with 2-0. And I just think that we need to score a goal to control the game and bring them out to try and actually, come back at us. And then I think that we pip a second, and then that's it. Done. Game to bed. And then we've put the fate in our hands even more so for the time that we play against Wrexham.
Yeah, keep that momentum going. Love that. Where are those goals coming from?
Where are those goals coming from? I don't mind at this point.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I don't know. I don't have a specific vibe around a specific player. Of course, I'd love a Dozy to get one, but I'm genuinely just at this point secure the goals, any means necessary, win the game. Next one.
All right, good. No, I like that. Well dodged. Very political answer from you, mate. I appreciate it.
Don't worry, I'm off anytime soon.
I'm feeling good about it, and I just think that our quality. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think our quality is going to shine through. I think it's going to be a definitive stamp where we come against a team with a low block and show that we have, picked the lock and worked it out. I think it's going to be 3-0. I think Larin's going to get a goal. I think Dozy's going to get his well-deserved goal. And let's have a Matsky goal from distance.
Yeah, one of those things that we predicted long ago that might actually happen from him that we haven't seen as much, but he is starting to get on the score sheet a lot more.
Yeah, deliberately or not, still genuinely not sure.
All I'm saying is that I didn't curse Matsky, but you definitely cursed Fellows.
Yeah. Yes. Look, I went out and formally apologised in my episode yesterday to Fellows, mate. It's all good. I think it's fine. It'll come when it comes. But yeah, I'm feeling good about the game. I think that we'll score like halfway through the first half, like reasonably early.
Yeah,
25 to 35 minutes.
Sort of similar to the Azaz goal yesterday.
And then we'll push on and get another one probably around the 70th minute. And then they'll have to push at us and try and get something from the game, and that'll open us up for the third before the end of the game. That's how I see it playing out. I just think that the confidence and the quality is going to shine through, and we're going to put it down that well, and just handle it, move on, have a nice break, and then come back and win the rest of the running as well. That's what I see playing out.
Okay, fair dues. I mean, I think the positive thing is we're both still predicting wins, right? So
Yeah,
how could we not?
I don't know in my particular case, mate, if you can take that as any kind of judgment on anything. I don't think
No, you predicted a win for the entirety of the most doomed Premier League season we've ever had. So you're right. But I keep predicted wins, and that's unusual.
That is a good thing. But listen, that is all that we have got time for today. So let us know your thoughts and your score predictions in the comments on the socials. We're Daily Saints Pod absolutely everywhere. X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. Hit us up. Let us know. We love hearing from you, and I would love to see how you think the game is going to play out tomorrow. We will be back after the game, regardless of how it plays out, to talk about it and analyse it and just share our thoughts, opinions, feelings, all of the good stuff. Until then, though, everyone, have a wonderful weekend. And most importantly, come on, you Saints!
This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.